Hi guys, it's Tracy with TR's Tarot Talk 1111. I am here. Let's just go for a slow moment here, okay? Because my day just went boom. Happy new moon, right? New moon in Pisces. Pisces, the dreamer, right? So I had a huge trigger today. And it's funny how you think you've gotten most of the lessons integrated and that triggering is not going to be an issue, only to realize that you are so wrong, so wrong, and you've got a long way to go. You've come a long way, baby, but you got a long way to go, right? So through my being triggered, I had kind of an ego temper tantrum, I guess you want to say. And kind of had an argument with Source, with God, with the voices, the universe, the ones that communicate with me. We had a very long discussion, and in this discussion came a huge channeling. Like, I need a bigger notebook, guys. This is a little itty bitty, maybe 9-inch notebook. And today's channel was huge. So this video is going to be for those who are on the twin flame journey or the ascension path, which kind of is a, what's the word I want to say? It's kind of a conundrum because we are all on the ascension journey. However, there are those of us that have been Christed with the mission of changing the collective, okay? In order to birth a new experience that's never been experienced before, then there has to be way showers. There has to be people or souls that are closer to the event horizon, okay? And we light workers have chosen to be the way showers, the trailblazers to the event. And through this, because remember, time is not linear and it's not real. It's all experience. It's all it is. It's all experience. So before I get too deep into this, I just want to say, if you came to my channel because you know that your life is changing, and not in subtle ways like your job's changing, you've lost weight, you got a new home. Every being experiences change, continuous change, and some are pretty profound. But we are actually birthing a new cycle, a new ring in the trunk of the tree, right? And all those little sayings that have been around forever that are so cliche, and really you're not sure if they have any meaning, but they do because they've been passed down. Things like you got to know to believe, you got to believe to know, you got to believe to experience. I mean, they're all, it's like chip off the old block, family tree. Anyhow, this download is pretty deep. So if you don't feel like you have been activated to a huge, and I do mean huge, spiritual awakening growth spurt, if that doesn't resonate with you, then this is probably not going to resonate with you. However, I can't even say that because everything is cycles within cycles within cycles. I'm a seed planner. So somebody who's totally asleep in the matrix could happen upon my video and just have a light bulb moment, right? If they do, I am so grateful. I really am. But so this is a deep channel. It's going to take me a while to get it out. And I have to tell you that when I channeled it, I was in a very emotionally agitated and heightened state. And so after I channeled it, I had to go take a sacred bath. I had to reread what I read or wrote what I, because I do automatic writing. a lot of this isn't even making sense to me, and yet in a very, very odd, strange way, it makes perfect sense. So when I say that things are cycles within cycles within cycles, scientists say that they can now look in these high-powered telescopes and literally see back into time, back almost to the beginning birthing of time, right? Which time is just an experience that we chose to have, right? Not everybody chose linear time as their experience. So like I said, this is going to be really deep, so try to stay with me. If the beginning resonates, please stay till the very end, because I'm going to link 2 videos below that I think will help to give a little better understanding of the download that I had. So if everything was birthed from an original source, and it's just been expanding outward, and as it expands, it becomes, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 6, 6 becomes 8. So, I am not an astrologer. That's what K Moon's job is for. Hi, Kay. I hope you're watching. There are so many modalities that help humans, that is, ascended beings in Avatar, to remember their divine imprint, their divine blueprint, okay? It's written everywhere. That's why so many gurus discover the meaning of life, or the meaning of existence, or the meaning of the universe out in nature, because nature perpetuates the story. It shows up in everything, guys, everything. I can't even, there's so many things going on in my head at the moment. But, some ascended masters, like Gandhi and Buddha, Christ, Jesus. I believe Christ is a title, not a person. I believe Jesus was Christed. Christed means, for me, teacher of knowledge, prophet. So I believe that the planets are a larger, higher existence of everything that is, but it is only a fractile of what originally was. And that's why they can look in these high-powered lenses and see the existence of, I don't want to call it time, I want to call it creation, okay? Because all it is cycles within cycles within cycles. It's like one creator creates a new creation, which therefore gives birth to a new creation, which 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, and 4 becomes 6, etc. So this is the download I got, and I have to tell you, I'm not sure I understand it myself. So I can only teach what I have channeled. Usually, a teacher teaches from experience, and I do believe that I have, as a soul, experienced all of this, because God is everything, everything is God, right? I am God, you're God. Anything that thinks and procreates is God, whether it's a blade of grass to 1 stone breaking into 50 stones breaking into sand. Everything that is and ever was and ever shall be is source energy. It's God, right? Christian faiths, Buddhist faiths, all these different conformed religions, they tell the creation story, but they tell it in ways that they and their timeline or their experience of creation could understand it. And as we expand and as we grow, then our knowledge grows. And even when we're asleep in the matrix and don't know what we know, we still know it. There's a conundrum. So I'm going to read, and I know it's all over the place. You're going to have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. I am a seed planter. I am channeling what I believe, now I don't know, but what I believe to be source energy. Other channelers channel other cycles, okay, creations, which are all fractals of the original source, which is original creation. So I will be channeling the way it was told to me, which I believe is a higher dimensional way of seeing the three-dimensional experience. So stay with me. If it resonates, please give it a thumbs up. You know, I'm going to look at the thumbs up. Everybody forgets to do that. I'm going to be reminding you, if I can remind myself, periodically through this download for you guys to hit that thumbs up, because I need to know if I'm on mission and if I'm on point. And the only way I can know if I'm on point is to get feedback. And that is the 3D experience. Is feedback is the way that we create, which is changing. So it's going to get deep. Put on your waders, get you a cup of coffee. I've got mine. It's probably cold by now because this has been long. I was going to do all 12 zodiacs tonight, but then I got triggered, and then I downloaded. And there is no way that it's 6 o'clock in the evening here. There's no way I'm going to have time to do any of the things that were on my to-do list today, because Source just came in and cleaned my chalkboard and said, we just cleared your energy, cleared your schedule. This is the moment the teacher comes into the room, and I am not the teacher, I am the channeler of the teacher today, because I have never experienced the higher aspect of this channel. I am teaching from something way older and way wiser than my experiences. So buckle up. If you're ready to receive, please open your heart, open your mind. Try to expand your ability to hear and see without all of the filters of your past experiences. And it's not going to be easy, guys. It's not. I cried quite a bit today. Good tears. It was a good purge. I feel like I downloaded some real, honest to God help today for all of us. So if you want to know, remember, you can't unknow what you know. So if you feel ready, we're going to get into this. And if you don't, I understand. I truly do. My analytics will tell me, the average viewing time was 2 minutes. I might have already lost you. I'm 13 minutes in. But if I lost you, I don't feel like I'm the only one losing, because I believe that what I'm about to teach is very wise and knowledge that I myself have only experienced on a very smaller scale. So let's just crack this open. Know that my notes are going to be all over the place. I'm going to try to make sense of them as I read from it. But when I channel, I exit. I let whatever is coming in come in, and I put my ego to the side. And then I have to go back and read it because I have no clue. No real clue of what it is I was writing. So we're going to try to make sense of this together. And I have read it over since I channeled it, and it's a little bit all over the place. So we're going to try to make sense of it together. All right, so today's theme for this new moon, the key word is sacrifice. Now, that's where my trigger happened today, right? because I have commitments. I committed to 2 private readings that I was unable to do. I committed to finishing up a couple of the free readings that I had plenty of time to do today. I made a lot of sacrifices today. And so what triggered me was I have a 10-year-old son who just recently experienced divorce. And divorce is traumatizing on all children. I don't care how mature they are, or how good a parent you are, or how easy the divorce fluidly happened. And so part of my role as a mother is to look after my child, my children. And I make sacrifices for them. But not just them, I make sacrifices for everybody. And I was born under the sign of Cancer. That's, I guess, my mission. That's what I came here to do and experience and learn and grow from. But what triggered me is the fact that my ex-husband told my son that he would be here around 12:30 to pick him up today. And at 1:30, after many texts and phone calls that were ignored, he finally texted me and said, "What, you mean now?" And I'm like, yeah, I had a reading I had to do that I was unable to do, which is money out of my pocket, right? Which money out of my pocket means money out of the care for his and I's child together. And so anyhow, the trigger was that he had no consideration at all. He didn't even know why I was angry. He didn't understand. In his reality, it's like, well, you know, he lives with you. I'll come get him when it's convenient for me. And you'll have to come pick him up when it's convenient for me too. And so, you know, part of my learning experiences is that I give and give and give. I mean, his car broke down and I went an entire week without a car so that my ex-husband didn't lose his job. And he has nobody to support but himself. And here I have our children, our child, because the 3 older ones are out of the house taking care of themselves. But I have a 10-year-old that he and I co-created together to have. So that was my trigger, okay? I could go into it and go on, but I'm sure that all of you have experienced something along the way of being too giving. You know, it's like I got really angry. And I yelled at when he picked him up and left, he dropped off 2 boxes of junk. I mean, there was a few photographs in there that were really cherished photographs that I was glad he brought me. But the rest of it was literally clothes that the kids outgrew, broken toys, garbage. That he makes 3 times more money than me and doesn't even pay to have his garbage collected. So of course he's going to drop it off at my house, because why would he get rid of it, right? It's like he looks at it like it's my junk. Well, after 21 years of marriage, we accumulated quite a bit of junk, and probably more than half of it was mine, because that's not true. And I'm going to take that statement back. But anyhow, like I said, I was triggered, right? Stick with me, guys. There really is a lesson here. So I got angry when he left and nobody was here but me. I started crying. I kind of asked God, you know, what the fuck? You know, I give and I give and I give until I have nothing left to give. And I'm still waiting for somebody to show up for me, for somebody to give even a fraction back to me of of what I give to them. And it pissed me off. And so this is the channel that came from that argument and that purge that I had with Source, with God, with Creator. And I'm hoping that this download isn't just to help me heal triggers, but will help you as well. Okay, so the theme is sacrifice. And being raised a Christian in a conformed religion, I was taught that sacrifice, Jesus dying on the cross was a necessity to find worthiness and forgiveness and to be good enough to find joy, love, and happiness. Because somewhere, somehow down the genetic line, somebody created the original sin that I have to somehow pay for. I don't know about you. Look, there's a glare on my glasses. I apologize. It got the whole place lit up. So anyhow, sacrifice is a trigger also for me, especially when I changed my belief system from being Christian to being spiritual. I kind of was hoping I was done with the word sacrifice, right? So this is the way my channeling began. We are Christed. Not just me. There are many. Probably 144,000 originals, if you want to believe some of the written word. But written word is just scribe's way of describing an experience, an experience that is experienced through belief system, which every single person has that's different. Everybody's belief system is different. They might be similar, but nobody is exactly the same. We're like thumbprints, right? We are originals. So we are Christed. Christed is a title. It's an energy. It's knowledge. It is not a person. It is a collective. It is a knowing. It is a lesson. Some of them are small lessons. Some of them are large lessons. I believe we are in the age of co-creating something that's never been co-created before. So this Christed energy that is upon us, the oracles, the mission, the light workers, the space holders, the visionaries, the trailblazers, the seed planters, the lighters, Doesn't matter what you call them. Everybody has a part to play in the orchestra, remember? So, we've been Christed. And so we incarnated here with a calling, with a mission, with something that we wanted to create. Not had to create. Wanted. Desired to create. And so we made a choice to come here and wake up and remember how to do it. It's just a memory. We've all done it. We've all reincarnated over and over again. We've all had collective experience. But now we are birthing a new experience, and it's one that has never been birthed before. So we are a new ring on the tree of life. And so in my trigger today, there was a hungry, angry, low vibrational demon in the room with me. I'm beginning to believe that demons are just thoughts that we give power to through our beliefs. So this demon feeds off of the low vibrational energy. It's the only way it can be, because it is just our creation through fear. So this demon was in the room with me, and the more reactive I became, the more low vibrational energy in the situation, the more the demon feasted on it. So after everyone left and I was alone, and the person whose finger was on my button had withdrawn it, I had to sit alone, enraged, frustrated. I paced the floor like a caged animal, quite literally, screaming at spirit. I don't even know if my neighbors could hear me. I was pretty pissed off. My anger and frustration demanding answers. Why? Why am I always putting others first? Why does no one ever take my needs into consideration when I always and in all ways considered their needs first? Why does no one show up for me? So that was my low vibrational belief system. That was my trigger, believing that somehow, some way, in order to be worthy of being greater than I am at the moment, or was at any given moment, I had to change my beliefs about being worthy of it, right? We have to learn that we don't need anybody to validate who we are. And I've heard this in so many lessons. I'm going to link K Moon's planet astrology video, which is basically the same thing I'm telling you, only in a different lens, okay, through the planets. So when I raged and asked Spirit, that's when I was told, pick up a pen, get some paper. You asked, and we're going to answer. And you're going to need the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And I didn't know. I had no clue what I was about to be taught. And I still am not sure that I can integrate it. But when you break it down into simple layman's terms, it's things we've done forever. It's just, this is the bigger picture. This is the bigger lens, the bigger perspective. God has the highest perspective, and everything below it is a smaller picture of the greater whole. So, Spirit said, okay, we've been working on manifesting, right? This has been part of my lesson as a co-creator with the divine, is how to manifest, because the problem with our world is not that there is lack. It's not that there isn't enough for everybody, because everything that is, ever has been, ever will be, always is, always has been, always will be. And it was created by us, for us. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, right? Especially if you were raised in a Christian background or any conformed religious background. Because we were taught to give all of our creative power to an external source, when nothing is an external source. Nothing is. Nothing. It's all perception. It's all perceived. So my lesson in this journey is manifestation. It's probably the lesson for most of the twin flames. I don't know. I'm only in contact with a couple hundred of them. Maybe 1,000, but I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I have over 1,000 viewers, but probably only a handful of them are true twin flames, and a handful of them are probably believing that they're a twin, when in reality they might just be in a karmic cycle that is in dynamics the same thing, just on a lesser scale, I guess. I'm not looking at hierarchy, guys. I'm not. I'm looking at cycles within cycles within cycles, which is just belief system. Nobody's greater than, nobody's less than. Everybody is just experiencing their own reality, which they created from their own experiences, through their own fears and their own lenses. So here's the answer, okay? The way it was downloaded to me. How to manifest, okay? You manifest through dreaming it. You dream it. You have a dream, and it becomes a desire. And then you make action, and then you have faith. Right? Sounds right. If you believe, it will conceive, and if it conceives, it gives birth, and then it becomes creation. But the problem is we keep manifesting lack. Or if I really was honest, it's not lack, it's a belief. It's repeated karmic cycles, cycles within cycles within cycles. So because we had a dream and a desire, but we're unable to align with the appropriate actions due to belief systems that have been taught to us through our ancestors' fears, perceptions, and belief systems, then we became unable as a collective to co-create anything other than chaos. So, due to the belief that it would never come, meaning our manifestation, we create something called self-sabotage. Because in order to successfully manifest and actually have it show up solid, that you can experience it with all 5 of your physical senses, is that you have to create it with adding your 6th sense, okay? And if you've been growing up in this matrix, you understand that having a 6th sense in the past was taboo. It was considered I don't even know the word for it. It was just considered to be baloney. Don't believe that. Don't question. Don't. So in order to really manifest from a place of a creator's ability to effortlessly create, you have to be able to marry it with the 6th sense, the knowing, right? Our 6th sense have been offline, Spirit told me. And we've been learning to develop our intuitions all over again. Our inner knowing, and we've been trying to activate the higher energy systems, the higher chakras. Then we will be able to effortlessly manifest because the intuition is the knowing, and the knowing activates the believing, which is the broken part of the manifestation cycle. To truly manifest, right? Effortlessly. So we have a dream, and then we have a desire, and we take appropriate aligned action. Know it's a probability, not a possibility. Therefore, creating a direct energetic alignment with your belief system and knowing you know and believe it already exists. And you are and always have been worthy of having it. You see, the way it was shown to me is we are conditioned to believe that we are taking something away from others in order to have what we need or desire. And then we're shamed and told that we are selfish for dreaming big dreams or for having desires. We are conditioned to believe that when we have something that means that when we have something we desire, that means that someone else in the world somewhere has to go without. It's droned into us at our entire lives, and probably more than one, since the patriarchal rule. So in our most adoptive, collective belief system, that means all consciousness, in our most adoptive, conscious, collective belief system, lies a lie. Lies a lie. That has been pushed like candy to a child or crack to an addict. This belief that God somehow sacrificed his most loved creation so that you, yes, you, could be saved. That, my friends, is the original sin. God is not only all-seeing, all-knowing, all-loving, it is all-giving also. That is creation. The tree of knowledge was the symbolism of divine knowledge. It is the free will to choose, victim or victor. Questioning was forbidden, or is forbidden. I'm going to say was, because I think we're changing the world one mind at a time. But questioning was forbidden, and if you questioned God, God would punish, curse, cast out of the garden, without the belief that he would ever provide again. You know, we had to clothe ourselves. We had to earn our living. We had to have pain with birth, right? That was a choice, guys. It was a choice. So shame, guilt, blame, humility was born, the original sin. And then created feelings of unworthiness that somehow, no matter how hard you dreamed or desired, or how hard you tried to make things happen, you could never fully be worthy of God's unconditional love, which includes providing for your needs. Therefore, you don't know that you are unconditionally loved. And that certainly means you don't know you're worthy or your value, which means you've lost faith. So these religions are trying to teach you to have faith while they take it from you. Means you cannot manifest or access your divine birthright, which is your ability to create, because you are a creator. You are a creator race. This is what they told me, which makes you a creator being whose natural inherent, which by the way means inheritance, inherited. So your natural inherent instinct is to create, because you were created in the image of, which means God creating gods, goddesses, which takes me back to God is everything and everything is God. God is fractaling and recreating itself and expanding. We are in the middle of a growth spurt, evolution, true evolution. Not that we aren't always evolving, guys. We're just at an event horizon to a higher evolution than we as a collective, as a wave, as a cycle have ever experienced thus far. Because those who have already experienced have already left it behind to have new creation and new experience. So the next milestone of growth, we are like guitar strings when wound tighter, raising the sound, the pitch, the vibration, which is propelling us into a higher timeline or higher dimensions. And the veil of forgetfulness is thinning. And those gods and goddesses, us, who are in the next few ways of the expansion, growth, evolution, ascension, are having to activate our light and our light bodies so we can cross the threshold into the newer, higher vibrational timeline. We need to eat high vibrational foods. We need to be in the body. We need to ground and center. And for God's sake, because we all are God, right? For God's sake, purge the beliefs that have you feeling and believing that you are not worthy of anything you desire without stealing or taking it from somebody else. It is your inheritance. And if you get everything you desire, somehow you believe that someone else must go without or sacrifice for you. God creates. God does not work. creation is not work. It is effortless when you come from the higher consciousness of believing. God dreams, desires, believes, which means knows everything's available. And it appears, just magically appears. Do you think God dreams, desires, and prepares for his creation and then stops and wonders? Does God wonder if he's worthy? If it's worthy of somehow having what it is it creates? So, sacrifice was kind of a hard one for me because I can't imagine God in any way or belief system that I've experienced so far of God not believing it was worthy of being the creator. Because God is all-seeing, all-knowing, all-loving, and all-giving. There's no lack. If God lacks something, God creates more of it, period. Not because he or it or she believes it can, but because it never, ever, not even once, believed that it couldn't. It wasn't its experience. It never had contrast, never had duality. God is everything that was, is, and ever shall be. There was it, one. Nothing to compare itself to. No duality. So there was no belief system that it couldn't do anything, because everything it did came natural. It was creation. A creator creates, guys. Paint paints. Dogs bark, cats meow. You know what I mean? We are a creator species. We are a creator being. The original sin is when those who did not inherit overthrew, stole our inheritance by taking away our ability to know our divine birthright, who we are and what we're capable of. They took our power away by changing our beliefs, which is the collective beliefs, majority, which is knowing, remembering, knowing is believing, conformed, hijacked religions have been instilling belief systems of this sacrifice for thousands of years. So they control us through fear of being rejected or unworthy of God's love. Which, by the way, the largest reason why religions teach that God is separate from us, like an old man sitting on a throne somewhere, or whatever belief system you come from. But they teach that God is separate. Somehow an external entity that needs to be pleased or worshipped. They install, integrate, or reinforce our beliefs of needing to be worthy of God's love. God does not question if it's worthy, because God has no comparison or contrast to itself to compete with. Therefore, God knows it can have anything it desires because it has this beautiful superpower of being able to create what it desires, and it does not take from anyone else to have it because there was nobody else to take it from. God is everything and everything is God. And from the first time it had a growth spurt. It was like a cell. It divided into two, and two became four, and four became six, or four became eight, whatever, multiples, right? Not my strongest point. But here, stop. I stopped right here. I was kind of like in my head a little bit when I was writing this. And I stopped channeling and I automatically asked a question. Go figure. Tracy, right? Questioning the divine. So I asked this question. 1 became 2, 2 became 4, 4 became 8. Became, this word became. Because in order to expand, you had to sacrifice half of the whole. For 1 to become 2 and 2 to become 4, etc., there was a sacrifice. So that is where duality was created. Not on a cross, guys. Not in any, those are stories that are acted out in nature, which we are part of the natural beingness of having form. So in order to become 1, to become 2, 2 had to sacrifice the 1. It had to let go of what it was to become what it was becoming. So I asked Source, I'm like, what, you mean Satan didn't do it? The devil didn't do it? You know, lizards or grays or little green men, dragons, serial killers, dark versus light? I mean, I was confused, right? I'm asking, I'm like, show me, I need to know. I got the biggest download of knowing that I've ever had in my experience, which is so stupid because there are people that have been teaching this for eons. But it wasn't my experience. And so today, I had a download that changes my perception, my reality. And I believe that my mission is to be the oracle, be the medium, be the straw that gets the milkshake to your lips. My cat, of course, has to use the litter box while I'm channeling. So I ask these questions. I'm like, what, you mean, you know, the bad guys didn't do it? And that's when the voice in my head replied, God is everything that ever was, ever is, and ever shall be. God chose to grow and expand. God chose creating division in order to have duality, in order to have contrast, in order to have a different experience, so it could learn something new, in order to have a desire to create something different, never experienced before, which is being a creator being, a creative source, having a growth spurt. And we are the trailblazers, the way showers, the closest souls to the event horizon. We will be the first of this cycle to experience the ending of the old cycle and the beginning of the new. We are very literally between worlds. If we liken God or the universe to a tree, and we are all that makes up the parts of the tree, only, can't read my own writing. Only aware of the part that is most experienced from our perspective. So to put that in perspective for you, if you are the leaf, your closest paradigm, your closest experience is the limb or the twig or, you know, whatever's closest to the leaf. You don't have any concept of what it is to be the root or the bough or the bark, right? That's perspective, that's experience. So from our perspective, the tree is going through a cycle of growth. If you cut down the tree, you could physically measure the cycle of the tree's experiences by looking scientifically at the rings in the trunk, like looking at the stars through a lens. So we are experiencing the darkest part of the ring before it transitions into the lightest, next ring, thereby creating new experiences, lessons, growth. But in order to embrace the next cycle, you must release the last one and be willing to be the first to experience something totally newly birthed, created, and therefore never experienced ever before. Nothing to compare it to. No contrast. So in the beginning of this channel, I felt like Spirit was validating my newly adopted belief system that sacrifice was unnecessary and a lie. When all of a sudden it became overwhelmingly clear that sacrifice is absolutely necessary in order to have what you desire. But you do not need to question your worthiness of having it. That is the sacrifice. You have a dream. You have to dream a new dream and sacrifice the old one. Because in order for one to become two, it had to let go of number one. And know it was going to have to create something new. That's the letting go and letting God. That is how to manifest, how to create. It's really kind of simple if you can wrap your head around it. Letting go of the belief that you aren't deserving of your new desire. No one is going to be taken from, or nobody else has to go without. It's a lie, guys. It's perpetuated belief systems. The magic is the knowing that when you let go of number one, you are leaving knowing it also has everything it needs. You have everything you need. Everything has everything it needs to create the next cycle. When it's time to grow, you have to let go. So if you're on this ascension journey, know that when it is your turn to have a growth spurt and create a new beingness, you will have, like the magician, all the tools you need to create anything you desire. This is where Spirit said rather auspiciously to me, within this download lies the key to hidden knowledge that only few have. That has really never been hidden at all. Just simply a horizon you've never gazed on before. And the knowledge is the knowing. And for those with the eyes to see and the ears to hear, we'll rewind this video and really finally understand the art of manifestation or creation. Creation lies within the belief systems, which are created through the knowing. And the knowing comes through the experience. So in order for one to become two, it has to remember remembering means have the collective consciousness of the one. You have the memory, you have the tools, you have the collective conscious Akashic records to draw from in your creation. The one had no comparison, nothing to compete with. So it never knew it couldn't, so it did because it could. Number two has a whole different experience or paradigm because it has never been just one. It has always been one of two. Therefore, has the experience of comparison as its paradigm. Number two now operates from an experience of number one being a consideration, which means because of its experience of always being with number one, it experiences a fear of being without it. So in order to truly mature and grow, it has to release or sacrifice number one in order to become the two, which becomes the four, which becomes the eight. Create a new experience never experienced before. So when I say we are in the in-between, I mean we are literally vibrationally at the apex or event horizon of a new creation. But in order to make it manifest, we have to know that we don't need number one to create. We just need to know what number one knew to create. And it is that I am, therefore I will. Thine will be done. And know what number one knew. I take from number one, for there is no one to take from. Let me reword that. The knowledge you take from number one is that there is no one to take from, only those to give to. Everything that number one has, you already have. So you don't need to take anything. You just give to the next creation. So the 2 becomes the 4, and the 4 becomes the 8. So let go of what your ancestors dreamed. Their cycle has been the creation of all that was your creation. I need some periods and commas in this. Okay. Let go of what your ancestors dreamed. Their cycle has been the creator of all that was. Your creation is all that is becoming. And that's where we go back to the loop of asking the question of becoming, being the dream desire as it's manifest. Yes, sacrifice is necessary, but everybody's sacrifice for growth will be different. Some will be very small scale, like sacrificing a job or sacrificing a friendship or sacrificing a belief system. Others will be really, really big sacrifices. My cats are playing. It depends on where you are in perspective of the event horizon. So smaller sacrifices breeds bigger sacrifices, which brings you back to oneness. That's why we're talking about becoming in union consciousness, right? Divine masculine, divine feminine, contrast, yin, yang, duality. So we are integrating the divine masculine, divine feminine energies back to the original one, back to unity, back to the one. But all of these smaller sacrifices will lead you eventually up to the event horizon where the biggest sacrifice will be made. And that is letting go of number one, the known. We'll just title number one as what's known. And thereby creating the 2 or the 4 or the 8, etc. The unknown. We'll call that the unknown. Creation is the unknown. So something brand spanking new and no one, or number ones, never get left behind. Nobody ever gets left behind. Because number ones always become number 2s, and number 2s always become number 4s, and number 4s always become number 8s. And you don't have to know how to do it. You just have to have the memory, the belief that number 1 had, that there's nothing that has to be taken from. Because nothing exists but what is, what has been, what will be. It's all God. God is everything. Everything is God. You've got to remember where you came from, your inheritance, your sovereignty. You are a creator being. Not all beings are, but you are. Number 1 believed they could do it, and so they did. The reason why they believed they could do it was because they didn't have any experiences of ever not being able to do it. That's where we need to get to. That's 0.0 or 0.0 energy. That is where we are in this collective. Okay? And if you know what you know, you can't unknow what you know. And so we are here to create a new world, a new beingness, a new experience. We're just at the forefront of the horizon, guys, in this experience, Ascended masters are souls that have already been at this event. It's like the kindergartner graduating to first grade, the first grader graduating to middle school, the middle school graduating to high school, the high school graduating to college, graduating to master's degree, right? So what do the masters do when they've mastered their art of creating? They come back and teach others how to do it too, because they are the way showers, the trailblazers, the seed planters, the lighters. Light them up. Because we're all photons bouncing off of one another. We are creative source, which is emotions are energy in motion. Creation is energy in creative form. Energy cannot be killed. It just changes. And we are changing. And we're doing it together, and it's beautiful, and it's happened a billion times, and there are readers everywhere that, you know, in a very calm, collective manner, bring it into the 3D reality by explaining it on such a smaller scale that you know, some teachers have to teach the preschoolers. Some have to teach nobody's less than. We have all been preschoolers. We have all been infants. And we will all be masters. Because we are all that is, that ever has been, that ever will be, just recreating itself over and over and over again. And does that mean that, you know, demons don't exist, that everything is just me? Maybe. Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe. But if that's true, then we chose every role. There have been lifetimes where we chose to be the devil and lifetimes where we chose to be the angel. We chose to be the deceiver. We chose to be the conceiver. It's all good. You know, nothing's done to you. Everything's done for you. So we are just learning to take the scales, the blinders off of our eyes and realize that we are creative source. We are creators, co-creating with our higher self, meaning those who have gone before. And it's like a trickle-down effect. You know, everybody learns from the one. So the twins are, you know, so my twin flame doesn't take me into consideration. Doesn't show up for me. Doesn't, and not just my twin, pretty much every relationship I've ever had. Not because I'm not worthy, but because the ancestral patterning through fears of experiencing lack, I've inherited in my DNA all of that cellular memory of fear of being unworthy to create from a space of love. And our twins are the ones, I don't know where she went. She's in heat. Our twins are our mirror souls. They are our, you know, if one became two, they're part of the two. We're both part of the one. So in order to come into true union, it has to happen on a spiritual level before it can happen in a physical 3D reality. So if you want to create that union, you're going to have faith and believe that you're worthy of it. And that's only half of the equation, because then they have to believe that they are too. And so I don't believe that being a twin is a person anymore. I believe it is an energy. It is a conscious belief system. And if you are on the twin flame journey and you get it, then you have to be patient while they do too. And you have to be forgiving and loving if they can't. Because we're all just light photons bouncing off of each other. We have a soul contract as a master coming back here to be the teachers, to awaken in this matrix and recognize who we truly are and our sovereignty. That we are creative source here creating experiences. And so if for some reason the other half of you is stuck in some kind of a karmic cycle that they can't get out of, you have to sacrifice the one to become the two. And then the two becomes the four, and the four becomes the eight. You can't crawl in a hole somewhere and die because your desires weren't met. Because before you knew that there was something else than you, you never desired it. That's why we are so codependent and so needy when it comes to our twins. Because they are literally the other half of our two. And I have faith, and I believe that I'm going to create space and hold space and believe and know and all of those things that have to happen to make manifest. I have to believe that he can do it too. He's just as strong as I am. I'm a nobody, man. I was born in Conneaut, Ohio. And if you don't know that place, it's probably better for you. Just a little hick town. I'm no greater than, I'm no better than anybody else. I'm not rich. I don't drive fancy cars. I'm not, probably because I believed and was taught to believe that you know, don't overstep your boundaries, you know, don't reach beyond your limitations that have been yoked upon you. But I'm changing that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm changing that. I know that I can create something better, something different. And I choose to believe that the magic happens when I let go of control. My body doesn't need me to tell it to breathe. It doesn't need me to tell it to pump blood. It doesn't need me to grow my consciousness, to grow a scab or to heal itself. That's the magic. That's the in-between. That's the birthing canal. That's the Empress. The Empress is the embodiment of the creation. It's the womb. And it's an energy, not a person. And does that mean that the people won't get to experience it? Absolutely not. Every one of us is going to experience it because we chose it. And it's going to happen. It just may not look like what we dreamed it. Because we have to learn how to dream something new. Because the old dreams have already been realized. They've already been given birth to. It's time to dream a new dream. And that's what the twins' mission is. And their teachers, they're Christed. They're going to walk on this earth and teach other people how to walk on this earth in a better way, a bigger way, a stronger way. So I apologize that the zodiacs for the new moon in Pisces, which is the dreamer. Pisces is Neptune, right? It's all about dreaming. It's about escapism. It's about, you know, this 3D matrix has demonized beautiful, beautiful energies. When you think of words, there are certain words that almost have such a low vibrational belief system around them that when they're spoken, it feels taboo. It's time, guys, for us to remember where we came from, what we're capable of, and to manifest something new. You know, I quit my job. Quit my job. Do I still work? I teach, but I'm teaching what I love to teach. I would probably teach if I wasn't paid for it, but because God is, all that ever was, all that ever shall be, God is always having unconditional love for its creations. Or it couldn't be God. It's such a conundrum. It's cycles within cycles within cycles. So guys, I hope I gave you something to think about. And you might want to go back and rewind this and take notes or see if you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And I'm going to link K Moon's twin flame astrology report. And I'm going to also link, because it was profound, you know, after I had this download, I was shaking, I was upset, I had been triggered, I'd been crying, I was purging. I couldn't come on here and teach from that energy. So I went and took my sacred bath that I always take, you know, when I need it. And I have to really spend some time. Oh, so anyhow, see, I'm off topic already. So I went and took my bath, and I just put a video on. I said, I do this a lot. I do divination with YouTube. So I asked Spirit, I said, lead me to the video I need to hear right now. The message you have for me right now. To ground me back from source energy into the 3D matrix where things become manifest. Because I was totally off-grounded, or ungrounded, totally in the ethers. When they say out-of-body experience, it kind of felt like that. So the bath was meant to bring me back into the body, and I put salt in it, sea salt, and I put this video on, and this woman described, I'm going to link it, and I want you to choose option 1. You can watch the whole video. I didn't. Maybe there's more messages in option 2 and 3. I only chose option 1 because I wanted to get here and I wanted to get on and channel this for you. And but she explained so effortlessly in a grounded 3D way the profound lesson of the etheric realm in a way that I would have a hard time teaching. And some of you might need. So I'm going to link K Moon. Now know that she doesn't just put out twin flame stuff. So if you're not a twin flame, click on the link, go to her channel, and watch the general reading for the collective for this new moon in Pisces. But if you're a twin, watch the one I link. And then click on the other one that I'm going to link, which I don't even remember her name, but I will give her props for it because it's not my video. I will link it. Make sure you guys thumb it up for her. Make sure you comment if you can. Watch her ads, both of them, K Moon's and them. Make sure you give them the recognition that they deserve for their work, because we're all just teachers teaching in the only way that we receive and experience. Okay? So I hope this helped. I know it's kind of scattered. I didn't read any cards, and there will be people that will click off because it wasn't a card reading. And there, I'm sure, out of all my viewers, there will only be a selected few that watch to the very end. And those are the ones that God brought here with the intention of them watching. So for those of you who had the eyes to see and the ears to hear, thank you for being here. And thank you for sticking it out. And please, just comment, I stayed. And I will know that you watched the entire video. And give it a thumbs up. Okay? Make sure you give K Moon and the other reader that I'm going to link, make sure you give them thumbs up and a comment, or watch their ads, or whatever you can to contribute to their channel too, because we're all just teachers here. And I am grateful that they are teaching in ways that I don't know how, because I turn to them for guidance when I'm lost. Okay, so I love you guys. Please comment, I stayed, if you stayed for the whole channel. Please give it a thumbs up. You know, if you need to rewind it and go back and watch it again, I think it's worth it. I'm going to. I'm going to read the channeled message. I'm going to probably ask some questions and elaborate more later. But for now, if you want to manifest, you've got to have the belief system of no comparison. Nothing compares to you, because you are all that is, was, and ever shall be. You are just experiencing source from a different perspective. But you're all part of the whole. Okay? Does that make sense? Someday. So in order to manifest, we've got to remember that there is no lack. We're not stealing. If we want money, if we ask Source, which is ultimately within us, to provide for us, it's our inherent right. It's our right. It's our inheritance to be able to create everything we desire and need. And if we want to desire billions of dollars, it's not taking anything from anybody else if you're giving back, right? Because it's energy. It's energy. That's all it is. Okay? If you're rich, pay it forward. Help out the homeless. Help somebody. Help everybody. Right? If we all are in the energy of giving and receiving at all times, nobody goes without. Everybody just uses a little bit and passes it on. Trust me. Trust me. Jesus showed, or at least in the parables that they teach about Jesus, when the wine ran out, he turned water into wine because he could, and he knew it. And it was necessary. There was a need. And instead of sneaking off from camp and stealing wine, sorry, I've got my notifications off, but it doesn't seem to help. So, Jesus didn't steal from other people to give wine to his people, his students. He just created more. That's part of why he was an ascended master, right? Why he was Christed, why he was Christ, was he was the teacher. The whole sacrifice thing is just a perpetuated lesson of letting go of the one to become the two. Okay, so I love you guys. I'm going to end it here, and hopefully my channeling is not lost out there in Mercury retrograde somewhere. Okay, I love you guys. I'm going to do the zodiacs. They should have been done today, but this just, it is what it is, and I'm doing what I'm meant to do. So I'm not apologizing. I'm just saying that they'll be here in divine timing. I'm hoping tomorrow. I'm hoping maybe tonight. Who knows? If I'm awake enough after my son goes to bed, I might come back to the table, right? I might condense them into the elements again like I did last time, just for the sake of getting them to you as time is relevant, okay, to the experience. All right, I love you guys. Don't forget, if you need a private reading, the veil is very thin right now, and I think I can help. So reach out, okay? And if you'd like to make a contribution, donate a deck. Buy me a cup of coffee. Watch the ads. Send a donation. Share it. It's energy. All of it's just energy. You don't have to take from anybody. You just pass it along. Okay? I love you guys. Namaste.